Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our Paws on Netflix podcast.
Today we're covering the Netflix anime Eden Zero, which is made by the same creator of Fairy Tail.
Yes, and this series introduces us to Shiki, who's always lived in a robot-filled amusement park where he's the only human. And he wants to make as many friends as possible and searches for the legendary wish granting celestial mother. He's like an anime Wander Over Yonder.
Yes. And before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and click notification updates on future podcasts and on pause videos.
Yes. We weren't sure what to expect from this because we started Fairy Tail, we got a few episodes in, and unfortunately Netflix removed it from the available viewing. So hopefully we'll get to see Fairy Tail sometime in the near future.
Yeah.
But we learned that this was not a sequel or a prequel. So
Right.
we went ahead and gave it a watch.
Yes, it's its own series. It just takes themes, continues the themes from Fairy Tail. And you can see a lot of similar designs and character traits from Fairy Tail. They even make a reference to it,
Yes.
a subtext reference to the show on manga, but it's clear that it's its own story.
And then I read on Twitter the voice actress who voices the little blue cat in Fairy Tail said, yes, in case you're wondering, it is me in Eden Zero voicing the similar
Yes,
character.
yes, it's another blue cat.
Right.
It was actually pretty funny. So for here, instead of the fantasy type story where it's sort of like Lord of the Rings, and they do these long epic quests, this one was more of like I guess a space opera or space fantasy series this time. But we still got them traveling, but this time is to find not the One Piece, but some other being.
And the one being, I guess.
Right?
Who grants wishes kind of like Oz.
Yeah, so, and then this one, we don't know how long it's going to be, because apparently the manga is still going. Apparently it came out in 2018, there are 17 volumes, and it's still going right now. So it looks like for this anime, I guess as long as the manga's out, the anime will still be going unless they decide to make their own ending.
Now, the girl, Rebecca, ends up landing on this planet amusement park.
Robot plane.
Yes, where he is. And a number of things occur, which we won't spoil for you, that causes Shiki to have to leave. And Rebecca invites him to leave with she and the little blue cat, Happy.
You're right.
And you like Shiki off the bat because he's just really friendly, he's really positive, and he's being amongst these robots who've been nurturing and caring for him all these years since he was a really little tot. And then again, events surface where he has to leave. But he's determined to make, as we mentioned, as many friends as possible. So Rebecca and Happy being the first two friends outside of the robots.
Right.
And every place he goes, just like Wander, he's like, you want to be my friend? Can we be friends? And she's like, oh gosh, would you please stop? You can't say this to everybody. And of course they go, sure!
Right? It's like, what? It's like, wait, how does this even work? Oh, I also gotta mention that for here, Rebecca is a VTuber, which we all know is just YouTuber. And I don't know, I think it's harder to be a YouTuber in this universe than it is in the real world, because they have to strive more for videos, because doing these space adventures is pretty can be pretty norm for them. So they kind of have, I guess, the similar struggles of YouTubers, and it's like, are you trying to make YouTube not fun? What the heck? It's like, you're not painting a good picture of us, Mr. Anime.
So we learned that Shiki's grandfather was a space pirate, and then when he says he's the grandson of the
Demon King, yeah.
King. Yes, thank you. And everyone's impressed, and the majority of people liked him, but there are a few that wanted to battle him, a friendly competition. There were some that wanted to take him down, not so friendly. And we learned that he really got around space.
Yeah.
He had his own space pirate ship.
Yeah.
And he did his own travel, so now Shiki is going to follow in his footsteps.
Yes. And another thing I want to mention here is that they do introduced quite a few characters in here, both for good and bad. And well, I do mean I should say good and evil. I should say that. And there's also a heavy amount of female characters here that we notice. I mean, they have male characters in here, but you can tell there's like a huge more chunk of female characters. And it's even more than, I believe, with Fairy Tale from what we saw. This might be way more because the series is long for that show. But yeah, there's like a heavy amount of, like, if you have one guy, there's like 5 other female characters that they introduce into the show at one time. So at least you don't have to worry about, hey, are there enough girls in here? Well, there are now.
And even the robots, cyborgs.
Yeah, most of the robots are girls too. Yeah, so pretty crazy, right?
And they're pretty powerful, and they're pretty intelligent, and it's a lot of positivity. So don't have any misconceptions that it's demeaning or anything, because it's not.
Right.
It's a really fun anime. We didn't know what to expect. It is different from what we were thinking it would be, but in a very good way. It's different.
Yeah.
And for those of you who probably are lovers of the Fairy Tale series, this is something you probably are used to seeing, and hopefully you will like it or love it as much as you did Fairy Tale.
Right now there's 12 episodes, so right now it's only one season, but we know there's gotta be more on the way because the manga's still going, so we know this won't be just a one and done season or series or left on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Because it does leave on a cliffhanger, but you know there's just gonna be more. It's not gonna just leave off and then you don't see it ever again. It is going to continue since the manga is still going. Plus, they open up new doors for other characters coming in that haven't played a big role yet, but you keep seeing them show up. They've introduced a narrator. They have how time travel works and time-eating monsters and things that you'll see as it goes along.
That's funny because I was about to say they introduced some really interesting concepts we haven't seen in any of the anime. Possibly they occurred in Fairy Tale. We don't know.
Right.
If they did, let us know in the comments. But the time eating, that was something we've never seen, where this being,
it's like sort of like a worm, almost like
right,
a worm.
Exactly. And he eats the planet. He puts his mouth over and starts eating, and he actually starts taking current time away. So they lose decades of time.
Right.
So the first time this occurs in the anime, this planet loses 50 years, and everything goes back to 50 years prior in appearance, in thinking, in technology, in the way the people look. They're 50 years younger. And the thing is that once this being eats the time, it can't be reversed and you can't go back.
Right.
And I was like, wow, now see, this is really different. We've never seen this.
True.
And a lot of the season rotates or takes place around other planets trying to avoid having their time displacement.
Right. And they don't know how to stop it yet. They just usually try to get the people off the planet so they don't get affected and lose time. And it'll just they'll just move to another planet and they don't get affected.
Now they meet this professor who is 50 years younger, so Rebecca doesn't recognize him at first, but then they realize that he's the professor who saved Happy. Happy was destroyed and he made Happy a robot, and so Happy will always be with Rebecca.
Right.
In the future, he's a little more respectable, and he's kinder, and they can talk to him, and she can be around him. But 50 years younger, he's kind of like lewd, kind of a perv. The beginnings of where he's going for the future.
Right.
With the way he's able to take tech and upgrade it.
Right.
And his knowledge of different things, including the time displacement. And he hates when he sees himself in the future. She has a picture in her phone. He goes, oh no, I don't want to go to the future. That's how I look. And he's freaking out because he's 50 years older. He has a receding hairline. His hair is long, but it's receding. And he's like, no, I don't want to do that. So what's really interesting, another concept in this anime is because the displacement, the way it's explained, he and his future self can be in the same place at the same time because he's 50 years younger than the current self. So there's no contradiction.
Right.
And there's no problem where one has to die or one has to be canceled
or time will be will explode or something. Nothing hazardous like that.
So this is interesting because everyone on that planet now, if they meet their younger selves, it's going to be okay. And it's going to be strange because they can talk to each other and they are completely different individuals and beings, which we've never seen before.
Right.
And again, if this was a fairy tale, let us know in the comments.
Right.
But we found both of those concepts pretty refreshing and new in terms of having ideas that haven't been duplicated or done over in a different way.
Right. Plus, one more thing we definitely got to mention. Actually, two things. The Shiki, he also has these powers that apparently he's been trained to harness. It seems like every human can use these sort of power-ups in their bodies. You'll see a bit of a marking on their arms or legs or something, kind of like you see Generator Rex with the nanites. And some people use them to fight or fix or recharge or something. And it seems to be like every human has it, but for Shiki, he's been trained to harness it so he can use it for big battle strategy and power-ups.
And he, at this point, looks unbeatable.
Right.
And I say at this point because next season they may decide to change that.
Right.
But in this season, he couldn't be beat.
Right. And then the second thing you want to bring up is that they've also introduced a narrator. Like, there isn't one in the very beginning. You're kind of just seeing Shiki. But then, like, halfway through the season, they introduce a narrator who explains how the time is going to work throughout it. And you can see bits and pieces of things, like it jumps forward to the future, where they are, and then it's not going to tell you what happened to the characters or anything because it'll be a spoiler. So it just kind of explains, like, you know, time's going to work differently here, so don't be alarmed when something doesn't make sense. Everything will be explained as we go, and then they kind of disappear after a while, but they plan to show up. They say that they're going to show up, like, every now and then within the series, so it's not going to be a constant narrator telling you what's going on as you're watching it and kind of dummy it down for you. It's just going to be when it starts to get pretty crazy, or it looks like it's getting more convoluted, a little more convoluted, like, okay, I'm confused, they'll come in and explain it and simplify it for you so you can keep enjoying the story. So it's kind of like their very own little Wikipedia within it.
Definitely. The opening is nice, but the ending is even better. The ending is so fun. Yes, it's upbeat and it's fun, and you see the little chibi characters, and it's so fun that every time the show ended, we would just sit through the ending and let it finish before we went to the next episode.
Yeah.
It's just that fun.
Right.
And if anyone knows us, you know how much I love happy openings and happy endings in anime. So this is one of those that is worth sitting through. And it changes a little bit each time. The first few episodes, and then it becomes a constant after that.
Right.
But it's really cheering and fun in the end.
Right.
So if you have seen Eden Zero, let us know what you think in the comments. Were you a fairy tale fan before and you decided to add Eden Zero onto your list of animes to watch by this creator? Or like us, was it your first introduction to the writer's content?
Right.
And did you have any favorite characters you think you want to see season 2 when it comes out? If you haven't seen Eden Zero, as we mentioned, it's on Netflix, available to watch in full. We love Netflix.
Yeah.
And after you watch it, come back and let us know what you think in the comments.
Yes. And be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell updates on future podcasts and World of Pods videos.
Absolutely. And hopefully a season 2 of Eden Zero.
Yes, it should be.
Yes.
So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.